It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Tess. Hello, Crazy Witch.
Hi.
Hey,
Yeah, we're all
Sonya.
back.
Welcome to another edition of Cryptid and Paranormal Rabbit Holes with Grizzly and Psychic Medium Sonya. So, did you get to eat anything between the show?
I had like 11 minutes. Like, no, I didn't have time. I had time to get my dinner started for me and my mom, which she's gonna have to watch now, but it's okay.
So, Crazy Witch wants to know, what rabbit hole are we going to go down through tonight?
You know, I don't know. I did not prepare myself.
Well, thank God somebody did.
Mm.
So, yes. Hello,
So what are
Grizz,
we
and hello,
doing?
Sonya. Hello, Tess. Hello, Luna. What's up? How's everybody doing tonight? And Jackie just turned on the TV. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. I love you so much. So it's not time to watch TV.
You know, she can tell if you're being sarcastic or not, you know?
Yeah. I've been standing outside smoking the whole time in between shows. I know, right, Crazy Witch? That's how I have been busy all day
I
today.
didn't even have time to finish my cigarette. Like,
Oh,
for me. That's okay.
So let's see here. Where do we want to start? Let's see. Let me see if I can. Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to find right here. Right here. So, what is this? This is that. So we have talked about a few things. And I think this will be a good one to start off. Well, no, that's Instagram. I don't want Instagram. I do not want Instagram. Let me go back to this.
Yeah.
So, uh-oh.
Yeah, you can if you want to.
So,
I made all that
let's see
broccoli
here.
though.
Yeah, I don't want to play that one. So I already showed the people that one video, so I'm not going to show them that one because I don't want to repeat it. Let's see here.
Show everybody a video I
Questions
sent you of that werewolf. I think it was creepy.
No, this one right here. Yeah, that was creepy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. We're going down a rabbit hole that Sonya may not. Yeah. Here we go. Present. Share screen. I am hitting the audio button this time. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
How to escape the heat if you don't have an air conditioner. This only takes 5 minutes. Tired of hot?
Howdy, Appalachian Tales.
The story began for me about 3 years ago. I was working in the studio on my weekly radio show when I got a call from Chad Riley. He asked if I had ever heard of a secret government group known as the Collins Elite. Truth is, I hadn't really looked into this too deeply, but I was definitely curious. So I began to do a little bit of digging, and the little information that was available seemed to be reoccurring from source to source, but it was enough to grab my attention. I ended up embarking on a larger scale of personal research through it all, digging into the idea that there exists clandestine groups within government agencies with close workings with what has been deemed alien entities. Contained in some of these groups were counterpoint groups. This is a spin-off group of individuals who doesn't necessarily see these operations as ethical and safe. I found that there were individuals who felt conflicts between these operations and their Christian faith. One of these groups being the shadowy Collins elite. So one of the first places I headed was the FBI vault. And after acquiring over 300 declassified documents, ranging from projects with paranormal conclusions and animal mutilations, all the way to alien abductions and testing out psychic abilities on various subjects, it was obvious that parts of the government had been long saturated into this dangerous area of practice, and were all aware of what they were doing. There are those in the federal government who don't even believe in the paranormal, but what about the ones who not only believe in it, but are utilizing occult rituals to interact with such entities from other dimensions? And further than that, what about the agents who felt that great conviction about these practices based on their Christian faith? So what exactly did they expose about all of this? There are many questions that I needed answered. And with so many non-existent government operations occurring in the 20th and 21st century, I had my work cut out for me. I needed to locate certain individuals who could validate or disprove the existence of these operations. And so the journey began. This is our investigation, and these are the lost tapes.
Lost tapes. Is that from that show? Lost tapes.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the lost tapes.
I'm really glad that we were able to get Derek Gilbert in on this project. Not only is he a very well-researched author, you got The Day the Earth Stands Still, Last Clash of the Titans, but Derek Gilbert, he's one of the first people that came to mind as we set out on this investigation, because he is one of those guys that doesn't overhype situations. He doesn't jump on the bandwagon. He really digs deep into historical data. What does the data actually say? What can we actually prove about things? Derek is one of those guys that extremely vets different topics before he lands on a certain position. Again, he doesn't jump on the bandwagons like so many other people do. A lot of people, they focus on controversy for the sake of controversy. And, what I really like about Derek is that even when he gets controversial, it's not for the sake of controversy. It's for the sake of, we want to bring the truth into the light. We want to take those things that are in darkness and bring them into the light so that the body of Christ can have a good understanding of what exactly is going on in this cosmic battle, this cosmic war, this spiritual warfare that we find ourselves waging daily as Christians. So I'm very happy to have Derek on board. One of the things I definitely want to get him to do for us is give us any pointers on where we may want to go directionally in this investigation, because he does have a lot of background in these topics. So hopefully he'll be able to give us some pointers on the trail of our investigation dealing with the higher entities. How's it going, Derek?
Going good. Welcome.
Thank you. We really wanted to talk to you about some of your knowledge. You've done extensive research into the alien agenda entities. Obviously, you and I share a commonality that, generally speaking, the entities, masquerading as aliens are actually not aliens.
Right.
With that being stated, the first thing I need to just kind of get on the table with you is this mysterious group known as the Collins Elite. Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about this alleged group?
Basically, it's, and I got to say, this is all based on the information that comes from Ray Boucher. The meetings that he had with guys who identified themselves as part of this informal group, an interdepartmental group inside the government that was tasked with picking up where Operation Blue Book left off and trying to find out what exactly these entities, what exactly is behind these craft. Now, I'm glad the government is doing this. If Russia or China is flying craft over our country that we don't know anything about, I'd like the government to investigate. But these guys went deeper. They were looking at the theological background of a theological reason for this. According to what they told Ray, however, the conclusions that they drew make me scratch my head as to what their real agenda was, because they concluded that these entities were soul-sucking demons who were here to enslave mankind, and that the only way we could save ourselves from being trapped in hell forever was to put ourselves back under the law of Moses. That doesn't make any sense. Apparently, they identified the problem correctly, that these entities are not extraterrestrial, they're extra-dimensional or interdimensional, but they've been with us since the beginning. These are inhuman entities that have plagued mankind since the garden. We Christians understand what these are. These are the fallen angels who call themselves gods. God in the Bible calls them gods. Psalm 82, in fact, is a courtroom scene where Yahweh, the Creator, condemns them for judging unfairly, for showing partiality to the wicked, and says that though you are gods, all of you, sons of the Most High, like men you shall die and fall like any prince. The Collins elite reached a different conclusion. We need to go back under the law and begin following the feasts of the Lord and the law of Moses, the 613. So how did they reach that conclusion? That's what I would like to know. It appears that they diagnosed the problem by reading a book published in 1910, which was a translation of works from the Old Babylonian period in Mesopotamia, called Babylonian, the Demons and Deities, or Demons and Devils of Babylonia. For the time, 1910, this was a work of great scholarship, but we've learned a lot since 1910. There are texts in Mesopotamia that haven't been found until the 20s, the 40s, even recently. Some of these haven't been translated until the last 30 or 40 years. But why didn't they go to theologians? I mean, Ray Boucher, obviously they contacted him, but the Vatican, I mean, still training exorcists to this day. If these guys truly believed that these were demons masquerading as extraterrestrials, why didn't they talk to the exorcists at the Vatican? Because the conclusion they reached is so far from the Bible that it makes me wonder if that was really their purpose after all. If they were really trying to find an answer, or if they were trying to float a story that made it appear as though Christians really want to take over the world. Because I think that's the response that most of the people in the UFO community came with. That's the reaction they had to the story about the Collins elite. These Christians really want to take over the world.
Now, let me interject something here. Obviously, when we think about the Divine Council, this heavenly courtroom meeting, and there's a lot of views on that. There's people on both sides of the coin as to what that actually means. Is it being mistranslated? But in this event, that this is a heavenly courtroom scenario or setting, we're talking about outer space here. What the best a human mind could fathom would be a heavenly realm, but someone who, let's say, does not follow the teachings of the Bible, they would view this as some type of a cosmic courtroom in outer space, per se. What are your thoughts on that?
God holds court. His divine council meets in Eden. Okay, the original Eden was a garden on a mountain, Ezekiel 28. And it was originally intended to be the earth. That was spoiled by the sin of mankind and the rebellion of these fallen sons of God, the B'nai Ha-Elohim, who rebelled against God's authority. So it may well be that what we're talking about in heaven is just a dimension that we cannot perceive as humans anymore. Now, I believe that there's good reason to also think that it is somewhere elevated above the earth. Paul talks about a third heaven.
Right.
But I think there's a dimensional component to it as well. I mean, the reason we can't see it with a telescope is because it's outside the limits of human perception. And that's where these entities that appear to defy the laws of physics as we know them are getting by with it. Josh Peck has done some great work on this, where he shows that the movement of a being that's operating in more dimensions than we can perceive can appear to defy the laws of physics, when what's really happening is we're just not seeing the entire entity with our three-dimensional senses, our three-dimensional perception.
Right. Now, the idea that these entities are masquerading around as sometimes angels of light, We know biblically that is definitely stated. We've got a clear depiction of that in the New Testament. But this other idea, the idea of space aliens, masquerading as a space alien, granted, we understand that heaven is outside of our realm, but in our human minds, we consider outer space to be one of the heavenly realms. The average person would say, well, that's outer space. That's up past the firmament or right inside the firmament, or however you want to look at that, or the expanse. When they masquerade as this, we know they have craft. One thing that we keep coming into contact with in our research with all of these declassified federal documents, and we've got over 300 declassified federal documents from the FBI. They've done extensive research on almost every possible angle of this phenomena of UFOs, aliens, interdimensional beings, high-tech weaponry, all of these things tying in together. They've done a lot of research on this. Some of them are pushing the narrative that they are coming from outer space. While others are saying these are interdimensional beings, and others are saying these are just straight up demonic. Whatever they are, we don't care. We need to stay away from this. So how would you approach this in dealing with somebody who is completely sold on the idea that these are alien entities? Because we know alien can mean a number of things. We're not here to split hairs. We're trying to get to the bottom of how to deal with these things as Christians. But furthermore, what exactly are these entities and what is their purpose for contacting mankind?
I think it's important to look at the history of interaction with entities that were believed to come from beyond, from outer space, because they seem to always appear in a way that is expected by the culture that they're contacting. For example, the airships that were seen by people in the 19th century tended to look like dirigibles. They didn't look like saucers. The concept of the flying saucer didn't enter the public consciousness until Kenneth Arnold, a pilot, spotted those silver craft in the Pacific Northwest in 1947, and he described their movement as like they were skipping across the water, like skipping through the air like a saucer across the water. And some newspaper headline writer said, flying saucer. And then suddenly everybody saw something that looked like a plate, shaped like a saucer. So I think they're approaching people in the way that we expect them to appear. You look back into ancient Mesopotamia, and these entities would appear like hybrid, chimeras, partially human, partially animal. We're dealing with a deception, but they're working with the cultural influences around us as well. You mentioned Aleister Crowley. You can go back even further than that to Helena Blavatsky, Emanuel Swedenborg in the 18th century, who believed he was hearing from angels who lived on the planets Venus and Jupiter. And in fact, there are still followers of Swedenborg today. They've rebranded his religion from Swedenborgianism, which is, not really comes out of the marketing, but they changed it to the New Church, and they teach people how to contact these entities in outer space. That's the other thing I would ask somebody who's looking into this, and not from a Christian perspective, to consider. Why is it that all of the communication from these entities with humans is through telepathy? Why is it always through seances? Why, if these entities are so technologically advanced, don't they know how to use a webcam? Why can't they modulate a light signal, into dots and dashes, Morse code, something? It's always through telepathy. It's a spiritual connection. That's why we're dealing with spirit beings here who are trying to convince mankind that our saviors are coming from outer space. And again, this is not a new idea. Crowley believed this. Blavatsky believed this. H.P. Lovecraft, the horror fiction author who was an atheist by all accounts, drew on their work. He drew on Thelema. He drew on Theosophy. And he used that as the grist for the horror fiction that he wrote 100 years ago. Stories like The Call of Cthulhu or At the Mountains of Madness,
right?
Where Earth is we're in a lull. We're in the eye of the storm, as it were. The great old ones were here. They ruled the earth for millennia. They went away. They're dead but dreaming. They're sleeping, but they're going to come back. And when they do, mankind is toast. That was a common theme in Lovecraft's work. Well, he found a new audience in the 60s and 70s in France, believe it or not. A couple of authors named Powles and Bergier wrote a book in 1960 called The Morning of the Magicians, and drew on a lot of this pseudo-archaeology and speculative fiction. It inspired Eric von Daniken in the late 60s to write Chariots of the Gods. In fact, it was so close to what Powles and Bergier wrote that they sued him. But Von Daniken is the one everyone remembers, and now he is sort of like the dean of the ancient aliens evangelists. It's almost like a received text among ancient aliens believers. But you can draw a straight line from this belief that the gods of the ancient world were just astronauts who our distant ancestors were too primitive to understand what they really were. You can draw a line from that belief back to Lovecraft, to Crowley, to Blavatsky, to Swedenborg, all the way back to the naturalist philosophers of ancient Greece. This is not a new thing. It's the same lie, just repackaged for the modern scientistic era.
So in the old world, we're dealing with gods and the chariots of the gods.
Right.
They had a full understanding that these were the esoteric gods.
Absolutely.
There was something supernatural about them, but they were interdimensional.
Right.
My research has shown me that a lot of the government projects that have dealt with some of these entities in physical manifestation form, they have claimed that they're dealing with what appear to be like a Nordic, like a perfect human being, very pale, fair-skinned, but the gray aliens seem to be what people are running into. We're seeing two different grades or classes of entities, if you will, manifesting here. Some are appearing to government agencies because they're doing the bidding and the work, they're communicating. And again, these are alleged stories that we're trying to get to the bottom of. The whole purpose of this is to investigate what exactly is going on. What can we validate with evidence between individual encounters and limited access program government employee encounters? And with the limited access programs, you're not dealing with clearance with anybody outside of the group, except for maybe one or two people outside of the group. Congress doesn't even have to know about it in these LAPs. Now, real quick, as we close, what do you recommend? What direction would you steer us in? Who do we need to get in touch with if we can?
The best lie always has a grain of truth. And I think where the Collins elite is concerned, they've hit on the grain of truth that this phenomenon is not good. It is spiritual. It is supernatural. You look at the interactions that contactees and abductees report, and there is no way you can categorize the experiences that these people have had with their abductors as anything but evil.
Right.
But the solution that the Collins elite put forward, that we need to quickly institute a theocracy, is not biblical. There is no way that imposing a set of rules on somebody protects them from demonic oppression or possession. That is just not biblical. And these guys, with the resources that the U.S. government has, should have known that. They had access to people who could have told them that. So the question to ask is, why did they come up with the conclusion they did? But the guy you need to ask is the one who they contacted, and that's Ray Boucher. You got to talk to Ray Boucher.
We're going to try to get in touch with Ray. He's really difficult to schedule for anything. We were listening to you'd recommended a podcast that he had done. And in the very opening line of the podcast, the guy makes the statement, we've been trying to get this set up for a year now, and we finally have him. So
I suspect he's probably cautious about who he makes connections with because of the experience he's had in the past and the fact that his name is now well known in the ufology community because of the book that was written about the Collins elite. So, yeah, he's probably going to be very careful about who he talks to.
Well, we're definitely working on that. And Lord willing, we're going to have everything lined up to be able to at least get some type of a conversation or a statement from him at the very least. But Derek, thank you so very much.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful.
Man.
Thank you.
So, what do you think?
What do I think about what?
What you just heard?
That there's a bunch of people who think that aliens are demons?
No, not necessarily.
I mean, that's what he said.
No, I think that they're trying to use a lot of biblical references as they shouldn't. There's a lot of information that was presented. For some reason, I can't get my mouse over there to close that window out. There we go. So, aliens, what are they? I mean, ever encounter that I ever interviewed has never been a good experience. Have you?
I see the lights in the sky. I have experiences with them. Me and my sister saw
Have
a
you
flying
ever
saucer when I was
been?
like
You
7 or
ever
8
been
years old.
abducted?
I don't know. But the lights in the sky, and that's what I call them because I'm not sure who they are, but I know that they followed me since I was a kid. But me and my sister, when I was like 7 or 8, we had a swimming pool out here, and a flying saucer come over the ridge and hovered above us, and then come down and hovered above us here. And it freaked us out. We went under the water in the pool and just like stayed under the water as long as we could. And we come up and it was gone. And it was really funny because like I stopped. Me and my sister didn't speak for like 5 years, but in this last year, like we started talking again, and she was like, "Do you remember when we were little?" And she's like, "Did we see a flying saucer?" And I was like, "Yes, we did. I even got a tattoo of it on my wrist because like that was the only one I've ever seen come down out of the sky like that." But I couldn't tell you the strange things that I've seen in the sky out here. Like, I know I see strange things on the property with Bigfoot and all, but the lights in the sky, we don't talk about that much. We don't talk about aliens much. I can take you outside. I know when they're there. Like, I can take you outside and one will come. Sometimes they'll just be sitting there and they'll look like stars, right? But then all of a sudden they'll just start moving and they'll go zip, 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 boom, and take off. I see them all the time. I've seen them in all kinds of patterns. I've seen them in like like a star, like one up here and 2 lights behind it following like in a triangle pattern. I've seen something that looks like it's mapping the sky. I've seen because that thing's weird. The way if you've ever seen a 3D printer and the way a 3D printer prints, it goes up, down, back, forth, up, down, back, forth. That's what this thing was doing. I don't know. I can't ever say I've had any bad experiences. I've had some really cool experiences where the lights in the sky, I feel like they're communicating with me sometimes. And then I was talking about that to a friend one time, and his job, which is wild, his job, he goes over like government papers and government things that they've announced, and he goes over the paperwork to make sure that they announced all the correct stuff that they're supposed to announce, that's in the files, and make sure that they, told the truth and stuff. And so that's his job. So he's a big believer in aliens, and he's got his own reasons. And we were talking about things, and like later on that night, I don't know, like I went out and I was hanging out with other people, and I came back and he was just sitting in camp, and I was upset because the lights in the sky were following me, and I feel like they were trying to communicate, but it was just like I don't know what they wanted to tell me. And I just came into camp and he was sitting there, and I just turned, I said, "Why won't they talk to me?" And he just looked at me like he didn't even know what I was talking about. He didn't even know what I was going on about. I just kind of walked in. He was just sitting there, and I said, "Why won't they talk to me?" He didn't know who I was talking about. And he said, "They have been talking to you." He said, "They use us to talk to you." And when he said that to me, it wigged me out. Like it was just this like moment. Like, how would he know who I was talking about at that moment? How would he know that I was talking about the lights in the sky at that very moment? It was just, I don't know, it was weird. I've had lots of experiences like that. I don't know. I mean, there are more than to think that there's only one race of alien out there, which is just ignorant to think that there is just one, with all the planets and all the solar systems and all the galaxies out there, there's so much life out there. And with some of these planets, like they're one of the interdimensional beings. I mean, that's how you travel the universe. That's how the soul, when it leaves the body, that's how it like travels the universe. I mean, it's vibrations. It's all vibrations. I don't know. But if you're saying that there is a race of demonic aliens out there trying to destroy mankind, that's probably very likely and very true.
I don't know. If these creatures, aliens, why do they need spacecraft if they're interdimensional beings?
Just because you're in a craft doesn't mean people can astral project. I can astral project outside my body. I can't take my body with me. but you can travel the universe that way. But then you don't have you with you, you know? Then your body has to be in this spot in a certain like meditation state, you know? Maybe it's just easier to travel in a spaceship. I don't know. Maybe there are different kinds of aliens out there. Maybe some of them aren't as advanced yet, and some of them have to still use spacecrafts like we do. We haven't even began to be advanced enough to use spacecrafts to go anywhere. So maybe there's some aliens that are out there that are not as advanced races as other ones. Maybe some of them are more advanced. Obviously, some are more advanced. And you can't just reference the Bible with aliens. They've been talking about the people from the sky, you know, the sky people, um, for centuries. I mean, way older than Christian God and all this stuff. And the Bible, it does reference aliens in the Bible. It talks about the Nephilim, you know, or the men of renown, you know, which were the children of the Nephilim.
The
Human
video
women.
stated that they try to use biblical reference for aliens.
Well, you can use it. It's in the Bible. It talks about the children from the Nephilim, the children of the fallen angels. They said that the flood wasn't sent to Noah wasn't chosen because he was like a godly man. Noah was supposed to be chosen because his seed was pure, which means his bloodline was pure. He didn't have any of the race of alien beings in his bloodline. And that's what worried, you know, that's what the flood was supposed to be, God cleansing the earth of these, you know, half alien, half, you know, um, alien, half human babies that were becoming giants. You know, they said that it was a race of giants. And every, like, if you look at like Samson in the Bible, his hair, he was strong, you know. Who else was strong like that? There's another story. That's right, Hercules and Samson are like almost hands down the same story if you look at it. It's just told by different people. They talked about the gods of Olympus would come down out of the sky and mate with human women. Zeus would come out of the sky, mate with human women, and create what? Superhuman, super deities of what they call them. Half god, half mortal. Hercules was one. I mean, it talks all these different, like, all these parts of the world talk about these different things. You know, the Egyptians apparently got along with the aliens very well. You know, they gave them technology. I mean, they had maps and technology that, you know, other civilizations didn't have. You know, it goes a lot further than just the Bible. The Bible is a fairly new book, can like, as far as timeline goes.
Why do you keep bringing up the Bible?
Because that's what you said about them using biblical references. I was just saying.
The guy was saying you shouldn't use biblical references. That's what man is trying to use.
Well, that's what you use it all the time. You use it all the time, but that's what I'm saying. Though I just said people should not use the Bible because it's a fairly new book. It's hard to reference a book that doesn't even have all the chapters in it, doesn't have all the stories. It's been translated so many times it doesn't even translate right. So there's no point in using a book that's basically worthless when it comes to like real information. I mean,
there's been so much info out there in the last 8 months on Nephilim, tall grays underground, how the U.S. government made secret deals with the aliens in return, let them live underground and use people for them. Allegedly, that is true.
Yeah, there's a lot of that talk, but they talk about the reptilians eating people, you know, and then you got like the grays and the I don't remember all the names though, but there's and a lot of us believe that we're star seeds, you know. A lot of us believe that we were here sent from other planets too. That's what being a star seed's all about. And you know, and maybe that's why the stars call to me. Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with the moon and the planets. Maybe I'm obsessed with the stars, but I feel like a star seed. And like they say, a lot of star seeds have gifts like being a medium and being able to read minds and do the things that we do. you know, and our whole purpose for a lot of us is, you know, we have a mission, and a lot of our missions are just here to help people. Not exactly, you know, exactly here to change people's minds or the way they want to do things, but just that they go about it in a positive way. You know, be more positive, you know, spread the positive energy rather than being negative, because people can believe what they want to believe as long as it doesn't affect other people negatively. I can't talk today. Like, I have not been able to talk today. Blah, 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 blah.
So what do you think aliens are then?
Just beings from other planets and galaxies. What do you mean? Why do they have to be anything? But what are we? Where'd we come from? You know, we worry about, like, we worry about so much about where all these other things come from. We don't even know where we come from. Not really.
Because we're fed lies. We're not told the truth.
You can seek the truth out. It's hard to get one with the thing, but once you start on a connection with the truth, the universe will pour the truth into you. You just have to hear the calling. You really have to keep, like, an open mind and be, like, really open about, like, what you believe and how you perceive signs through music, through things people say to you, you know, through the TV. Things will, like, say things that, you know, on the TV. Like, you'll be thinking about something and somebody will say something on the TV that reference what you're thinking about. Take those as signs, you know. And the universe doesn't, like, you know, send you signs just you know, to warn you. They're not warning signs. Signs are signs, you know, to let you know that you're on the right path and that you're on the right, you know, that you're doing well, that you're there, you know. Well, deja vu moments let you know you're on the right track, keep you on track. Deja vu is kind of like when you meet up with where you were supposed to be, or where you're at, like where you're at in a good spot where you're supposed to be, like where you were supposed to be. Not that really you have a destiny, but, like, you know, like like being a person and you going on with life. Your whole life is like a giant like Monopoly board, but it's not Monopoly. It's better than Monopoly, because Monopoly is not a fun game to play. Um, unless you're me and you win every time you play, and that's why it makes it not fun, because I know exactly how to play Monopoly and win every time. I don't think I've ever lost Monopoly to anybody. I hate that game. Um, but, like, it's just a big game board, and every time you roll the dice and choose, you know, which way to go, you know, it takes you to, you know, brings you back to the same paths and the same things, but you might have to take the long way around because you didn't choose the right path. Yeah. Yeah, like, here for your own personal reasons, yeah. We all have our own, like, thing that we're doing, our own little test. We're not here to, like, you know, persuade people into believing, like, other things. We're not here to, like, you know, people believe whatever they want. We're just here to be like we're just here to help each other be better versions of ourselves, and that's, you know. And I think some of the aliens in there is like an intergalactic law, you know. I think some of the aliens are here to help us. I think we've been here before. I think when man has destroyed itself over and over again, and it's probably so sad to watch. You know, could you imagine being like a creature of love and light and watching like, just the way, like, humans treat each other and how they, like, you know, that's got to be just tough to watch. You know, it is, as a person, just being a person and seeing, loving the world so much and watching people treat each other the way they do, and not being able to do anything about it. Like, you can't stop people from mistreating each other, and it hurts.
Do you think that the governments around the world have dealings with aliens to perform certain things on humans?
April 28th, 2020, the American government told everybody during the pandemic, which nobody was paying attention to that aliens were real and they had been dealing with them for years. They announced it. They keep no secrets. They just was like, meh, whatever. Pandemic, you might not make it till tomorrow. You know what? Aliens are real. We've been messing with them for April 28th, 2020. I remember the day. So, Do I think that they are messing with aliens? They said they were. The first time they told us the truth about anything. You think they would lie about that? uh,
Yes, Crazy
yeah, you know,
Witch.
and it was the thing.
Allegedly, they met with Eisenhower. That is correct. In the
Well,
hangout.
does anybody ever read or like Teddy Roosevelt? Any of his books? He talked about going down to the Bermuda Triangle, and because one of their Navy ships had been reported of these lights. These lights had been following this Navy ship, and they had been going in and out of the water on them. You know, it was just scary. So he went down there, and he reported the same thing that they did. That these lights, they would hover above them at night, and then they would dive down into the water and never be seen again. And he was pretty convinced that there may be an underground, uh,
Base.
underground whatever, alien base. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need Sequest. Where's Sequest when we need them? The ocean is scary. Space doesn't scare me. Like, just like I'm not scared in the woods with the Sasquatches and the things that are out there. Like, I feel like the lights in the sky, the ones that, have watched me since I was a kid, I feel like they would protect me if I was in space. Now, the ocean, I don't know what's in the ocean. The ocean scares me. We're scared of sharks than anything. Yeah, he had Bigfoot experiences. He went camping all the time. He saw aliens. He talked about aliens. Teddy Roosevelt was amazing. Like, yeah, yeah. He talked about Bigfoot. He talked about aliens. He talked about all this stuff you weren't supposed to talk about as president, and that's probably why everybody loved him.
So you have a chance to talk to somebody right now that has no experience or no knowledge about aliens. How would you describe that to them?
Other beings from other planets and other dimensions. I mean, it just depends on what race of alien you want to talk about, because I do believe that there are more than one race of alien because of the amount of planets that are in the galaxy. I mean, just think that we were the only ones, but I mean, it's just other beings from other dimensions and other galaxies.
And the abductions and
Like I said, if there's like, do you believe that you can't have good without evil? Well, there's going to be good people and bad people. There's going to be good aliens and bad aliens. There's good people and bad people. No different than any other thing. And we're such a young civilization, really, and we keep destroying ourselves. Aliens, nobody has to help us do any of that. And we can't even get along ourselves. Do you think that they would want to come in and teach us how to be those kind of people, and they're like being able to travel through other dimensions and other worlds? Do you think they would want to teach us how to do that when we treat each other like this already? When people treat each other this way already, we can't even treat our own human race with some dignity. Our planet we're destroying. Do you think they would want to invite us to their house when we can't even keep our own home from falling apart? No, no.
gotta be gentle. Don't wanna. Crazy Witch, I do believe in a lot of the ancient aliens theories. They see a lot of things. They depicted a lot of things what they saw. Tried to describe what they saw back then.
But you
Tried
have
to
to
warn
think
us.
that all that stuff has been translated. Everything that you read now from any other civilization has been translated. And words, I'm going to tell you something about the different languages. They don't translate well, especially English into other things, like, or from stuff to English. Nothing translates well. So you don't really know the whole story. You just know what somebody's translated for you. So same thing with the Bible. You can't really, like any of the books that have been translated over the years, you can't really know what they really meant because the words don't mean what they used to, and they don't mean what they do now. And you put a sentence together with a bunch of words that mean something totally different now, the whole thing is different, you know?
Eisenhower's granddaughter says her grandfather did not agree with the Greys, and Val Thor confirmed it was DS was behind Eisenhower's back. Who knows what really is true? And that's the point. Who knows? So, and I agree, Crazy Witch. That's the point.
Yeah.
What is the truth?
You got to seek it out yourself. If you go to start to look for the truth, and the thing is about it is that you cannot put down on anybody's answer unless you know, like, I hate to say it like that because, like, you'll just know, it'll resonate. The truth will resonate in you. And the more truth about yourself that you're honest with, you have to be honest with yourself first. You have to put that out there, that you don't lie about anything, that you try to keep your word, that you don't, and then the truth will come to you. Because if you live in the light of the truth, that things will be easier for you to seek out and find. At least that is what I believe.
There's nothing wrong in believing in that way.
Oh, nobody said there was.
There's nothing wrong in believing in other people's points of views.
It's like, how can you
But
know?
when we go to seek out the truth, how can we seek out the truth if we're already blindfolded and blind?
Well, right there, the fact that you already know that you've been lied to means that anything that you've learned up till this point, you need to forget. You need to throw that right in the trash. And that goes with religious books. That goes with anything that you were taught by your father, his father's father, because it's all sins of our fathers. That's the problem with with man, with the human race. I won't just say man, but the human race, is that we've been taught wrong, and we still take into consideration what our fathers are teaching us. I mean, nothing changes here in America with our government, because the same people who were in the Senate when when my parents were, my age, are still in there. Nothing ever gets done. You've got to change and be a better person and realize that your way, just because somebody taught you how to live, is not necessarily the way to live. Well, God said, come seek him out and find him.
And you can change God for universe.
Well, God just means higher power, deity. If you learn the Christian Bible, it means the one and only God. And everybody
I just
else,
said you can change God and rephrase that and put universe in there if you wanted.
I do. The universe and God are two different things to me. God is a higher power. It's that connection that the universe has between us and all the things. I am God. We are God. It's just a higher vibration that you have to be a part of to be connected to the universe. And the universe is the universe. It's all things included.
Operation High Jump when Adam Bird went to Antarctica. They turned around and ran out because they saw where saucers were there. And Bird said when they were on their way back north, the fleet topped off in South America. Yes, I do believe in that. Well, I mean, is that the truth? I don't know.
Well, they talked about in Antarctica that there's a giant hole that they went down, and it was like miles into the ground. Yeah. Yes. And when they got down there, there was two different, there's two different occurrences. There's one with the giant beings. The one reports had giant beings when they got down there. So at the bottom of the hole, they got in there and there was these giants, and giants attacked them and killed some of the members of the crew or whatever. And then I guess they said that they, killed them, or whatever. And they went on down into the hole, and they found like this huge lake. There's supposed to be this huge lake down under the ground, where these things come out. And then they said that there was like some sort of like octopus or squid like type creature that had come out. I think it was like Operation 87, or like it was like Experiment 87. I don't remember. It had a name or something like that. And they that they had like they had some sort of like encounter with it, and that it attacked one of the crew members, and they cut off one of its limbs or something like that, and that later on that night that the limb came back to life or whatever and strangled the team member to death or something like that. There was, I don't know, it was a long story. There's a lot of rumors about ancient civilization and cities under the ice in Antarctica. I mean, and why now? Because I can remember the map perfectly when I was younger about how big Antarctica was, because it took up the whole bottom of like every map. You know, Antarctica was huge. You know, it was iced over, so you didn't want to go there, but it was huge. You know, it was one of the biggest continents they had. But now, if you look at it, they're acting like Antarctica is just this like little strip of land that's just, you know, nothing in comparison than what it used to be. And that makes me wonder why that would be like that. Like, I don't know, lots of cover-ups.
I think it's being covered up because I don't think us as human beings and human creatures, I think we're programmed to be a certain way, and our reality, like we talked about before, is not reality. And I think we're spoon-fed a bunch of lies.
But I mean, if they've announced that they do know aliens are there and they have been working with aliens, then imagine all the other stuff that is probably true. And look at half the people never even saw the announcement. And I'm like, again, I remember the date and the time, like everything. I remember. We don't let little things like this slip through the cracks. I don't even watch the news. You know what's weird? I haven't watched the news since that happened. Since I stopped watching the news like 45 years ago, you know. But when the pandemic went on, like I started watching the news a little bit again. And that was probably like one of the last newscasts that I saw and followed, was them announcing that aliens were real and that they had been working with them. That's cool. I already knew. Kind of already like, yeah, the ancient maps that show Antarctica, it's way different. They show Antarctica like they used to like announce it, like Antarctica had this giant meadow in the middle of it. They used to talk about it all the time when I was little. They don't talk about that anymore. They act like it's not even there. That wasn't true. But, you know, people that have been to Antarctica talk about it being true. You know, why lie about stuff? When they start lying about little things like that, like stupid stuff about what's really going on Earth, you know, they keep you distracted with what might be going on in space, but we don't even know what's going on around us. We're worried about aliens and things around. I mean, they don't even want to announce that Bigfoot's real, and we all know that he is. I mean, most of us that are part of these followings, we know. Like, we know. There's no believing, because you can't believe something and know it at the same time. So we're knowers. And to like have these people like, you know, I don't know.
Don't stop.
We're just here to
You're on
seek
the
the truth.
road.
I know, we're just here to seek the truth. Like we're here to seek the truth. And when we know at this point, when we've been fed full of so much bull hockey that we like, we're up to here with it. But at this point, we shouldn't be able to tell what's real and what's not. I mean, you should just be able to know. There's a certain level of like honesty you got to be with yourself and things around you, and know that you've been lied to. And if you believe that, and you have to believe it, you know, you have to know it. You have to know that this isn't how it goes. And again, we're just being distracted about what's going on in other places to keep us distracted from what's really going on here on Earth. Like we don't even know. We don't even know where we come from. It's crazy. We don't know half the stuff that we've been told is true or not. Like, you know, with just any of it, we just don't know.
Pierre is a man up to 1513 shows Antarctica. What's more, in South America, it shows Dogman. And I said this before Stingray. Why does it show in the 14, 15, 1600s maps of the oceans and all these big, gigantic sea creatures? Because they existed.
Well, I mean, they still
weren't
exist.
drunken
Have you
sailors.
never seen a blue whale? Have you never seen a shark whale? Have you never seen some of the tuna that are out there and some of the other things? They're still there. Giant squid, giant octopus. Just because somebody drew it by what they thought they saw, because you never can see an ocean creature completely because he's half in submerged and half out of the water, you're going to have to fill in the rest. It'd probably look a little crazy. So, and to say that there's not, that there probably aren't some species of animal out there that are dead now, like look, the megalodon or whatever, the big shark. People find teeth from it all the time. It's supposed to be fossilized, but it's weird, because you still find regular shark teeth that look just like the fossilized megalodon teeth. And you always wonder if it's really fossilized or if it's just old. Not as old as people say, but who's to say there's not a megalodon still out there? I mean, who's to say there's not those Nessie creatures out there? We don't know. The ocean is huge. The ocean's huge, and we don't even know what's in it. And so to think that space isn't full of creatures that we don't know about would just be stupid. Yeah, if the river connects to the ocean, this what is it? The bull sharks. Bull sharks come up river into fresh water to breed and to drop babies. So you get a lot of bull sharks in fresh waters that connect to oceans and things.
It's interesting because we don't know what the truth is. We think we do.
No, I think people who think that they do are ignorant. If you think that you know what's going on, no, you don't. like like if you're listening to what people have been telling you, we that's you just don't know. My dog is driving me crazy. He's clawing at my back.
It's take the calculator like we talked about before. Back in the, what was it, 50s or 60s, it took up a whole building of a government floor. And now look at our cell phones. Look at the technology that we have, that it's,
Well, they've had this
it's
technology
far
for a
more
long time.
advanced. Yeah,
Slowly
30 to 50
releasing it.
years advanced than what we have now. Yeah. I mean, I cannot even fathom. So, and where did all that come from? Texas
It has
Instruments.
been a crazy race in technology in the last 100 years. But slowly, they're slowly trickling it in. But we act like some of this is new technology. We acted like batteries was new technology when we had it. And the Egyptians had batteries. All kinds of, old cultures that had batteries and things. How did they get those? How did they know? How did they map the world like they did, when the Egyptians were around? How did they have the maps? I mean, to the tiniest island they knew. How? The only way you can map something like that was with aerial view.
You also talk about how accurate they were.
Not just what I said. I mean, down to the tiniest island, to the nooks and crannies of the little coves on some of these islands. You know, and like I said, the only way to be able to get that view is by aerial, by to see it from the thing. You know, even the best. What is it? I can't talk. Mapographer. Even if you're like the best one to be able to travel around like an island's one thing, to be able to draw it out's one thing, but to know that there's all these other little islands out there that you wouldn't even have passed or seen. I mean, you know,
Now, do you think there are dimensions next to ours that are paralleling us as we live and travel throughout our days?
that's a tough one for me. Like, in my mind, I feel like why with all the thing with the galaxy and with the universe being like it is, why would we need parallel dimensions? Why would why would that even need to be a thing? Do I think that there are, like, I wouldn't say parallel dimensions, but do I think that they're like, I don't know. Like, I believe in interdimensional, like that there's like another plane, other planes here, but it's hard for me to think that there is another plane. And it wouldn't just be one plane, because every time that you make a different decision than what the other one makes, it would create a new, thing, a slither of a reality, right? So there'd have to
Right.
be hundreds of thousands, right? What's the point of that?
I don't know. Norma,
And would you
recently, a
and you
Navy submarine retired officer revealed that submarines actually traveled underneath the continents, but no one told us that. I did not know that. Did you know that? Never heard that.
know, but I believe that because if you look at the way, again, if we put all the continents together, we can shape them all back together like a puzzle. That means it had to be one giant landmass at one point, and water had to have hit it and broke it apart and separated it. Because our timeline is not right. Our timeline about what we've been told is completely wrong. Um, do I believe that dinosaurs, where am I from? Dinosaurs are billions and millions of years old. Well, it really confuses me because I'm a rock hound, I guess. I mean, I know enough about rocks and I know enough about fossils to know what's going on. There's the Dinosaur National Monument in Utah, right? And at this Dinosaur National Monument, there's this huge pile of dinosaur bones. What so strange about it is, like, there's a bone over here, and then there's a bone over here, and they're supposed to be millions of years apart from each other, age wise. But here they are, all in this one giant pile, all fossilized together in the same sort of rock. You know what I mean? Because wouldn't one of them, if it was a million times older, or like 1,000, even 1,000 years older than the other one, it'd already be somewhat fossilized? And since it looks like they're in a giant pile, it looks like a giant source of water wiped all of these dinosaurs out, killed them, and piled them at the end of a river or wherever the water stopped. You know? Like, so we don't even know how old dinosaurs really are or how long they really were. Like, people are like, oh, there's carbon dating, there's this and that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Um, you can't tell me all those dinosaur bones were like millions of years apart and fossilized in the same stone. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I found a really cool fossil in my creek. Like, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me talk about fossils. What did you do? It's got the stripes and the one in the hole.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's got through the nodules. All the little things. I forget what it's called. It's got a name.
That's pretty neat.
I forgot I had like skin colored shorts on. I was like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm naked, because I wore these down to my sister's house and her boyfriend thought I was naked standing there, and it freaked him out. So try not to scare anyone.
But Stingray, Crazy Witch, Norma. I mean, we look at everything different angles. We look at different ideologies. Sean, hello. Giant Mega Lake, Upper Midwest, Canada, broke free and came south. So we can talk about tectonic plates. We can talk about all that. We can talk about how the continents separated. Yes. We can talk about science, but is science what we taught is correct? So allegedly, if you put the continents together, the rock from North America and South America should match. Same thing with Africa and everything else when you push them all together. So
No, not necessarily.
technically,
So, okay, think about America. If I go collect a rock from the Mojave Desert, is it going to be the same rock I collected here in East Tennessee? No, it will not.
so
Sure isn't.
if you take the world and take all the
Mhm.
countries and put them together like a jigsaw, the theory is you should be able to take that rock from this country that matches that country that puts together to form that jigsaw. Supposed to be the same rock.
That doesn't make any sense. Again, that you can be in a country and the rocks are different in the northern part of the country than it is in the southern part of the country. I mean, you can be in one side of Georgia and it's mountains and it's Appalachian Mountains and beautiful, and then you get on the other side of Georgia and it's red clay.
We're
But shouldn't
not.
they be the same then?
We're talking continents, honey.
Land is land. When
But
you're that far
you
apart.
said
Okay, well,
earlier.
you think about how big the continents are. And even if they were like how big our continent is, how big America is. We have mountains, we have deserts, we have all these other different places and things. It's all the same continent though, but the rocks are different.
I'm talking on the coastlines, honey. If we put all the land masses
You mean where
together,
the ocean comes and like, you know,
if
the
we put
ocean's
all
been
the
up
if
and down?
if we put all the land masses together, crazy witch, yes, the bedrock.
Again, you've explained this 5 times. I get what you're saying. And it doesn't make any sense.
So the landmass was never together then.
That's not, if that's what you want to think, that's fine.
Well, what did you say?
I said that I thought at one time, if you put them all together, that's really funny how that they fit right together. I'm just saying that's a
Because
theory,
they were
and I
together.
believe one way or another. I wasn't there when it happened. I don't know, but it does seem awful strange that if you put all of these things together, that they will connect right together.
Because they will. Because it was
Right.
one landmass.
That's what I said.
So in that theory, with the continental
No.
shelf moving
Well, that
and
theory, again,
changing,
it doesn't make any sense. That theory doesn't make sense because, again, even if the continents were all together, like things change. I mean, things erode. Like some places get more rain than other places, so their coastline erodes more. Some of them sit underwater for ages. I mean, that's true. The Appalachian Mountains are the oldest. But you know what's crazy about that? Like, there's like certain things that our mountains have very in common with the mountains in China. Like our lightning bugs. Our lightning bugs here in the Smoky Mountains, they synchronize. They synchronize and will glow together. And the only other place in the whole wide world where they synchronize like that is in China. The only 2 places. It's really cool.
well, that's cool.
We just don't know. We weren't there, but it's all theory. These are all theories. We don't know. I mean, we can't even believe what they tell us because I mean, it's stupid the things they'll lie about. It don't make any sense. And I
Stingray
refuse to
says,
believe.
there you go. It is a special place here in the mountains. It is Crazy Witch. Totally different. It's different out in the country than the suburbs and the cities. Yes.
Well,
A lot of things happen that people don't understand.
I think Crazy Witch has like his own little like thing going, kind of like I do out here. It's funny like how living out here will connect you with everything, as long as you're willing to be connected to it. Like, definitely a different experience. I lived in the city for a few years. It took a lot of getting used to, and the convenience level it wasn't even worth the convenience for me. Like, I didn't need to live that close to a Taco Bell. It wasn't safe. But most nights when I'm sitting here, I was like, God, I wished I lived close to a Taco Bell.
Norma, they're good at dividing us and everything around us. That is the truth.
True.
And I think
Divide
that's
and
what they
conquer.
want us.
Ignorant people are way easier to maintain. If you keep them fighting each other, then we won't realize that the real enemy is them. That's all it is. It's a distraction method. It's a good technique. It's working. It's working.
It's worked for
Can't say
many
it's
years.
stupid if it works.
Crazy witch. Yeah, I've been here all my life, been connected to nature and the land. Norma, 100%. 100% crazy witch.
Me too, crazy witch. Except for those 7 years I lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But I've lived here. I never changed my address, and I was here every 2 weeks, day to week, for 7 years. I did a lot of traveling. Same roads. Everything's always 4 hours away from here. Well,
Constellations, aliens, governments, rabbit holes, ancient civilizations, technology, faith, biblical. All off the table. It's wild, isn't it?
we're all connected. All these things are connected. Everything's connected. And if we would just connect together as people, we would know the truth. Because once one of us knows, we all know. It's a shared conscience. Conscience. Am I saying that right? Excuse me. Yes. Boston.
And I was thinking the same thing before you said it.
No, no. I didn't want to go there. The Boston. Like, yeah, the Red Sox are my team, though.
It is. It makes you wonder because, being what I did for a living for years and working in the civilian world and doing those things and meeting people and working in different realms and realities, and it really makes you a humble person because when people come to you for guidance and answers, it's hard to provide anything to them. It's basically is what do you believe in and what is your higher power and what do you think?
Try to, when people give me need advice from me, I try to empower the person, because if the person is empowered, they can find their own empowerment. Because when you look inside yourself, you want to look into things what do you believe? Who do you believe in? Do you believe in that? Do you believe this way? I mean, what do you like? What are your dislikes? You got to get to know yourself. So usually most people, when they come to you, especially with problems and things that happen, usually it's 90% it's their problem. It's their fault. It's something that they have created inside themselves. Most of the time we don't realize it, but we hold ourselves back.
I got one.
And what is that?
Oh. Maybe this will help my love.
Well, that's a pendulum. I know what that is. Oh, so that's the board with the pendulum. Okay.
Yeah, so I bought it separately.
Why did you get that? Are you going to try to use it?
I don't know yet.
Well, you should. It's a shame to buy something like that that's used for that and not use it, because the tool itself can become impatient. Just sitting around
So
collecting dust.
I was drawn to it.
Well, then that means you
So,
should probably use it.
well, I
They're
don't
calling you.
know.
What
I
do you
don't know
mean
how
me?
to
You
use
don't
it.
know. You just said it called to you, and
It
that is not a
did.
sign to you.
I was
That doesn't.
drawn
That's
to it.
not a sign. Well,
I
that
never
should be all
tried to
the
talk
sign you
to the dead
need.
either. Now Sonya can talk to the dead. I can't.
You don't
Yes.
know that you can because you have never tried. But
No, the dead always just tears my stuff up in the studio. So
if you believe that things will mess with you, they will. So if the dolls know that
oh
they can mess with you, they definitely will.
no, they've been put in their place several times. They got wet many times today. So
If they were that scared of the holy water, they wouldn't continue to do it.
I didn't get to finish my
They
blessings
probably
either.
just love
My
watching you
cleanses.
do that, and it's probably really funny to them.
So God said that. But no, I did. After the remote viewing test that I took, that I was forced into. So Grizzly, show the dolls who's
You
in
can't be
charge.
forced
That's right,
into it.
Norma. I am going to show nobody
How are
who's in
you?
charge because I want to sleep good tonight. I don't want to have nightmares and terrors. I'm going to perform
So
a cleansing tomorrow, so a good one.
how was you forced into a reading?
Yes.
How? How was you forced?
You did not see the show, did you?
I came in right after. So tell me how you were forced, because you could stop the show at any time
Oh,
and not
I'm
allow it to
sorry.
happen. So you weren't
Sonya,
forced.
we're going to do you're gonna remote view right now, okay? So I'm gonna bring up a picture and I want you to concentrate. And right then and there, I knew exactly what the picture was. I had no choice. I saw it.
Well, that's not a force. That's just you're becoming more susceptible because you talking to us, these people that have these gifts and stuff. Don't you think the gifts that you know that you have that you choose not to use are just dying to be used? Because the universe gave you these gifts to use, and you are choosing not to use them, which is your choice. But you think that they want to be like used?
I don't know. That's why I got 2 tools today. I thought you'd be happy that I'm trying
I
something.
am happy. What do I seem mad? This is just my face. I just look like this. I'm
I
saying
like
that you
this.
should like you can't be halfway in and halfway out. You can't be like, well, I don't know. No, you need to like you either need to be in and use it and go with it or stop just picking around at it because it's not good for it.
I am not picking around at it.
You bought
I'm a
tools,
little nervous. I haven't had a chance to even
right?
play with it yet. I haven't
Well,
had a
I'm
chance
just
to calibrate it.
you're
I
not
haven't had a
listening.
chance
Just
to answer
making your
their
excuses. It's fine.
questions. So I don't know what to do. It didn't come with an instruction manual.
Right?
Picture of a racetrack. Why? I
For you to
saw
be
a racetrack before he
for
even
you
said
to be
that
able to
word.
use a lot of the tools, you need to be confident in yourself and in your tools, in yourself. You are the tool. You are the channel. So for you to use those tools, and you need to be confident in yourself and the abilities that you have. So you need to believe that you do have these abilities and that you're there to strengthen them, not just like, oh, I'm just dabbling in it. Like you have to be in or out. If you dabble, I'm just saying because if you don't commit to getting in there, you can fall into like a connection depression. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like where you're right there at that connection and you get these little signs, but it isn't enough and you just get like trapped. I don't know.
No, you're
I don't
right.
know how to
Crazy
explain it.
Witch says you're right. You are right. I've read that. I've studied a little bit up on it. Yes.
Yeah, I've never read. You know what's funny too, because we talk about this stuff. I've never read a book. I don't read other people's books. I've never read any of this stuff. I have been using the universe to teach me the things that I need to know because I'm willing to be open and learn them through these things. And that's how I know a lot of the stuff is just being confident in the stuff that comes to mind and being able to say it out my mouth. Because that's the thing about being me. I have to say everything that comes to mind or I don't get nothing else. I don't get I don't know how to explain it. Like I have to say everything that comes out of my mouth. because there's no I don't know. I've never really, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the confidence in the stuff that comes out of my mouth. Because if I sit and
No,
dwindle on it in my
never
head,
read a
I'll
book.
try to think that I'm wrong, or
She's
I'll
learned
feel some kind
herself.
of way about it.
So
It's an insecurity thing that I work on. It's me thinking that I might be wrong. What if I'm wrong? Well, don't even give it time to think that I might be wrong, because I'm never wrong. And with that, knowing that, I should go ahead and just blurt everything out that comes out of my mouth. And not that everything I say is right, but when it comes to certain stuff that I'm channeling, that I'm never wrong about that stuff. When we're talking about theories and aliens and stuff, like, I'll be honest with you. We've talked about this portal on my property. We've talked about, the aliens and stuff. They've called to me for years. That place up there on the hill that I told you about in the last show, where it's like there's a circle and it feels like the energy there feels weird. I feel like I've been called to go there and talk to these things. I'm just scared. And it's the truth. I've been scared for years. Like, I feel like they want to communicate, but I'm scared. And I don't know why I'm scared. I don't know.
there's a
Maybe I'm
reason
just not
why.
ready. I mean, I'm not scared like that. I'm scared to know that I'm right.
I agree with you, Crazy Witch. Absolutely.
It's
That's
not a
why
bad feeling of being scared. I'm more scared of being successful than I would be of failing. I'm used to failing. That's okay. It's just,
wow,
I don't
you're
know.
doing you're batting pretty good right now. You've been batting pretty good for the past few months.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, I know. Maybe I just wasn't, maybe I'm just not, maybe I'm just, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm scared that I'll talk to them and they'll be disappointed in me living the way maybe okay. So being a star seed, if you go to connect with the lights in the sky, or maybe even your home planet, there's always the chance that you had a mission that you were supposed to be on and they could be a little disappointed in your work. Maybe that's what I'm scared of. Maybe I know subconsciously I'm supposed to be on a mission and that I'm not doing well at my objective. So, or maybe I'm just making excuses. I don't know. I don't care. The Bigfoots don't scare me. The Wampus Cat don't scare me. All the other things don't scare me. But the aliens, like, I don't know. I'm afraid they'll take me off the planet and I won't get to take my dog with me. It's one of my biggest fears. I need to shut
Are
up. You
you
know what?
serious?
I'm already
Are you
blabbering away.
serious? I was
Yes.
like, now, ladies and gentlemen, now if I was sitting here and I was worried about aliens taking me off the face of the earth, the one thing that I would be worried about was never seeing Sonya again, not my doggy.
Well, everybody has to take their own journey. I can take you with me anyway, but I can take my dog. I mean, I can't be like, oh, can we pick up Grizzly on the way? Yeah, but they're more like, you have to, like, I can't like just share my spiritual journey with you, or my journey. Like, the aliens called to me, but I want to take my dog.
And leave me here on Earth alone.
Well, you got to make your own calling. Like, it's not my responsibility to get other people off the planet. Not that I'd want to leave you here behind.
Yeah, don't forget my glasses, Stingray. You're absolutely right. Wow. We'll be right back after this commercial. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Cryptid Rabbit Holes with Psychic Sonya. And this is brought to you by Western Kentucky Bigfoot LLC. And she's gone. Look, they done took her.
Yep, they took me.
Yeah, I'm saying, what did I say? I didn't get to go that far. But thank you, Don, for another edition that was brought to you by him. He's the founder of Western Bigfoot Paranormal Investigations LLC. Yes, thank you, sir. So
yeah, that was a pretty cool dude. I'd like to talk to
yeah,
him
he
more.
is. And oh, don't forget my glasses and a beard trimmer. You want me to shave my beard? You want me to say? You want me to shave it off?
Mm.
You want me to take it off? What do you want me to take it off?
I don't care. Whatever what makes you comfortable. I like beards.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. If she leaves me on Earth, I guess I'll keep it if she stays. But if she leaves and I'm all by myself, I guess I'll shave it. At least you have some remote viewer. Grizzly crazy witch. He cracked me up. No, just a trim. I can't. It's not time for my trim yet. Almost. That's what makes you Grizzly. That is why they call me Grizzly. That is correct. That's why they call me Grizzly. But really, I mean, it's just, I want people to think about things in life. I'm not saying challenge everything that is in front of you, but stop and think about things. I always thought as a child, why is green green? Why is red red? Why is a stop sign an octagon? Why is it called an octagon? Why is a car not a truck not a car? I mean, it's just weird. So, but if you're in outer space, you should take a trimmer. I have
and
many
a towel.
trimmers. And a
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says always take a towel.
oh, never mind.
No, whoa, whoa, no. Oh.
Yeah, that didn't go over my head. So look at the stuff from different perspective and analyze. I'm the same way, Grizzly. Yes, you're right, crazy witch. And that's the only thing you can do. But with censorship and everything, as much as it is today, it wasn't like it was when we were growing up. That's what's weird, right? With AIG, CIG, artificial intelligence, chat, whatever you want to call it, label it. We were talking about this on the last show about Bigfoot videos now. Not only that, or cryptid videos or cryptid pictures. Because now you can say, I want a picture of Sasquatch. And it's there. And I played with it the other night, sitting on my chase, and said I want the Pope to rap and dance. And the Pope rapped and danced, ladies and gentlemen. And I was like, this is cool. But it's like, it's not cool. Because, I mean, it looked like it was a real human being. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, hon.
You didn't cut me off. I was trying to cut you off.
Oh, cut me off.
No, I don't think I will.
But, it is. It just, I don't know. It's, after watching that movie that I told that national show to watch, the founder and his associate director watched that movie, that girl. I can't remember what it's called. It's not Artificial Girl, but it's something along that lines.
Ain't that it? The artificial girl? The one that you showed that clip of?
Yeah, it's not artificial. It's artificial something, not artificial. But it was something along those lines. Yeah, I have to re-YouTube it or re-Google it. But they, when they watched it and we had our show today, they were like, good God. I'm like, yeah, I know. Artifice. Thank you. That is correct, Stingray. Artifice, girl. Yes, that is correct. Now, the other one I was told to watch was, I recommend, ladies and gentlemen, is Nope. Nope on
Yeah. Nope.
Nope on Amazon Prime. And
Yeah,
that
that's
has,
that Key and Peele movie, right?
yes,
Or that
and
yeah.
that's the one I wanted to watch with somebody, but I never get to watch anything with somebody, but that's okay. Maybe one day.
Whatever. You're so
So
full of it.
Nope isn't very
Nope.
good. I don't know. I didn't get to watch it all. So I didn't get to see the ending. Crazy Witch, it's weird because I don't want to talk to younger people like older people did me when I was young, but now I don't know what the hell. I ain't even get with kids, or I'm right there, Crazy Witch. I have no idea. I mean, and this is the generation that's going to lead us into the frontier, to the future.
Well,
You
look
tell
at
them, no, it is. Unfortunately,
we're not. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're not headed uphill. We're headed downhill. So they
well, ladies and
ain't
gentlemen, I
leading
got
us
a
nowhere.
leveler.
I just scattered.
I don't know. Where we stand on war, where we stand on Ukraine, where we stand on Russia and China, where we stand on world currency, where we stand on world one bank. So,
One world order.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, where does it end? So now the next week edition, what are we going to talk about? Let's do some think and some thought planning on this one. What's something that's kind of really touchy, but not too touchy, but somebody's always asking about?
Me.
Crazy Witch. We're just on a cycle, but things will get better again. I hope so. I really do. But yeah. So what's the next topic, Stingray and Crazy Witch? Norma, Sean. What is it? What will it be? What is on your all's hearts? Oh, got a new comment just popped up, and I'm way in the back. What the hell is Belinsky House?
The what?
Yeah, Bo, do not do a show about that. Well, I don't even know what it is.
Belinsky House?
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
No, look it up. Tell me what it says. I can't do it because I'm on my phone.
So yeah, tell me, Stingray, what is that? So I'm waiting on you, Stingray. Give me a brief history on that. All right, he just Crowley House, Jimmy Page brought it on, Loch Ness, Haunted Doll, hell. Did you Google it?
I can't Google it. I can't get out of this stream thing or it'll send me out of the thing.
All right, let me see here. What about Brown Mountain Lights? You know anything about that one?
Brown Mountain Lights. I don't, but any of these things that we bring up that I can learn, like I can research it.
I think I know what Brown Mountain Lights are. The Brown Mountain Lights reported ghost lights near Brown Mountain in North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
All right, that'd be a good one.
Knoxville, back when I was like 10 or 11, I saw a UFO, which was weird because it's different than any of the other ones I've seen, but all kinds of people seen it. It was like a weird ghost light that went through the sky in Knoxville all over the place. And I just happened to be outside and was like, what is that? And I didn't know that I'd seen what they were calling this like ghost ship, because the way it moved was like it's the same way the things in the sky move, just like zip 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 zip. And there's nothing at that time that we had that would move like that that they told us about. But it was pretty cool. I've seen a lot of strange things. I've seen so many strange things that, like, I guess, growing up, like, you don't hear about these things. Like, people don't talk about the strange things that happen. So when they start happening to you, you have like a really hard time dealing with stuff. It's very, like, oh, we're not supposed to see these things, or nobody talks about seeing these things. So, you know, I can imagine how better I would have felt, through, of course, you're supposed to go through your own tribulations and whatever, but like how better I would have felt if somebody had been like me who could sit down and talk to me about the things that were in the world that other people don't talk about, you know.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. So we'll do some homework on that and figure out the history on that and see if we can get some videos and stuff. I think that'd be an interesting topic.
Yeah, we can research like our own areas, like in Kentucky and stuff like that, like reports of the different UFO sightings and the different ones and the way they describe them, because it's really cool to like. Because there was recently in Kentucky, this is like a few months ago, there was a report of a UFO, and then there was one in Kingsport not too long ago, and they described seeing similar, whatever they saw was similar the way they described it, which was really cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, one thing you have to remember now, this station,
Look at the time. Make a wish.
Yes, I did. Already had you beat on that one, girl. This is here for you guys. So you all let us know what y'all want us to talk about, because we can talk about anything y'all want. So as long as we're in parameter with YouTube guidelines. Now the other channels doesn't matter because they don't monitor like YouTube does. So absolutely, Luna. I think that'd be interesting. Stingray, that's a great video on Bluesky House. We'll look at that one up too. The other Loch Ness monster. It's the other Loch Ness monster. Okay, I'll check that out as well. Maybe we'll put that in line. So that's one thing I always like to know is what is on people's minds, right? What do people think and what are people interested in? Because just because I want to talk about something doesn't mean you want to talk about something. So, and what Sonya and I may want to talk about may have no clue, or y'all may be like, no, thank you. We don't want that. We want you all to be entertained. We want you to be involved. We want you to come on the show and be like, yes, I want to be a part of it. I didn't hook up a phone line for no reason where you can't call in or jump on there and talk and show your pretty faces and make your comments instead of typing. And this is what it's all about. To have fun, to learn, be happy.
To argue with Grizzly.
Yeah, no. Why would you say that? You had me say yes on that. And Stingray, I'll make sure I'll grab my glasses and my trimmer. So, yes. I can't believe that. You had me say yes.
You did, too.
But I do want to say this. Brown Mountain it is on next show on the Rabbit Hole. I'll get that program. But you got to tell them about what happened to the juvenile Bigfoot. I can't help from laughing. It's not funny, but it is funny for the people that did not see the last show or two. So before we let you go, I want Sonya to tell the story, please.
Yeah, so there's other folks that have a family of Bigfoots on their property. And during Christmas time, they had made a couple like different cakes. Like one was a rum cake, one was a fruit cake. And they decided to like sit down and eat some of the cake, you know, and sit down on it and like sit down on the front porch, eat some cake. And they sat down and ate some of the cake, and they was like, okay, well, we don't want the rum cake's too strong. They didn't want it. So they was like, let's just toss that out. They ate some of the fruit cake and was just like, oh, let's toss that out too. So the husband, Bob, I think it's Bob and Jen, I think it's his name, their names. Forgive me if that's not right. I know Jen is the lady's name, but Jen was like, I guess I'll just put them in the bucket, in the gifting bucket. No, Crazy Witch. No. But she was like, I'm just gonna stick the fruit cake in the buckets and give it to in the gifting bucket and give it to the Sasquatches. Well, like an hour later, sometime later, whatever, they're sitting on the porch, and one of the juvenile Bigfoots comes through the yard on like all fours, and they said he was going back and forth and shaking his head, and he was like speaking in tongues, and they were like, "What's wrong with him?" And then Jen realized that she had put the rum cake in the gifting bucket, not the fruit cake, and that the poor juvenile Sasquatch was drunk. A little bit too much rum cake.
Now I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, that dang on poor juvenile is probably got PTSD. Didn't know what the hell was going on.
He probably just wanted some more cake.
Every time he looks at that bucket, he's probably going, no. No more buckets. No more buckets. No. I mean, can you imagine you sitting on your front porch and seeing this thing come running across your front yard and talking in tongues and acting goofy? I mean, I would fall out. I mean, it's not funny, but
well, you saw Sasquatch over the phone and about fell out. Like that's something
because you were more worried about the storm, and I was like, "Hold your phone still, it's right there." You're like, "Look how pretty the storm is." And I'm like, "There's
the thunder hit, and I was like shaky.
It's tailwind. Look, there's Bigfoot. Yeah, pretty, isn't it? And
I said, "Did you see that?" And you said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Well, did you see the lightning?" You said, "Did you see the Bigfoot?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, she's been out there."
Yeah. I'm like, yes, Crazy Witch, yes. So, and she told me, I've been, so for people that don't know Stingray, if you didn't watch the last show, Sonya knew it was going to hail. And it wasn't even hailing. I don't think it was even storming at the time, was it?
It just started storming, and I just got that like, oh my God, it's about to hail. Like That's right. Yeah, I was like, it's about to hail, and I crawled to my window and sat at the window and was like, yeah. Do you want to tell it?
No, go ahead. Because you were like,
no, bad. You were starting. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Look at it.
Yeah, but I just knew it was going to hail, and I was like, so I crawled over to the window and flipped the phone around and was like, ooh, I bet it's going to start hailing any minute. And it was just raining. I think it was just starting to downpour at that point, and it started hailing. And I was like, hey, oh, it's hailing. I knew it. And I flipped the phone back around. And about the time I flipped the phone back around, it lightninged. And when the lightning hit, like it kind of like jolted the Bigfoot. She kind of came out like from behind the tree, which she had been standing at. And I guess I just didn't think nothing of it. But she was already standing behind the trees because she saw me go get eggs, from the chickens just right before that. So she just watched me carry 2 buckets of eggs, and I didn't take any eggs out there to them, which I need to do. I took a few out there, but I need to take some for the rest of them. I didn't do that. I took like 4 out there earlier. But anyway, she was standing behind the tree just kind of doing the thing. But when the lightning hit, she came out from behind the tree and it was like there. And I was like staring at the lightning like, oh, but about the time the lightning hit, when she stood back, I saw her. And you were already like, I said, did you see that? And you said, did you see that? And I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, but did you see the lightning? He was like, what with the lightning? There was a Bigfoot. I was like, yeah. I was like, she's always there. I was like, when I tell you guys like that they're there, they're there. You know, like
So
I think
I
we
was
stay
texting my
so.
buddy, and I'm like, "You're not believing what I'm looking at right now." He's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah." So he was on the show, and he still didn't believe me until she had to tell the story. So I mean,
Yeah, and
this thing
she's
was like 40 feet away, less than 40 feet, 40, 45 feet. I'm being dead honest. And we knew it was
yeah,
a female
she's
because of
not
the
that.
bottom half.
She's one of the watchers, and she's smaller than the other ones. Oh, some of the other ones, you know, not the like juveniles, but she's a female, and she's kind of squattier, and like, you know, she's just smaller. So I think that makes her a good watcher. Plus, her hair is this like brown red color. She blends into everything. But yeah, but she's the one that sits outside and watches all the time. She's the daytime watcher. She's always out there like all the time during the day. So if you're here during the day and you see one in the woods, it's usually her.
All right. Good night, Crazy Witch. We're hopping off too from coast to coast and around the
Hi, Crazy
world.
Witch.
We love you guys. And thanks for tuning
We
in.
love
Next
you.
week, it's Brown Mountain. I had to make sure and look it up to make sure it wasn't a joke being played on me. So take
Like
care,
Brown
guys.
Mountain.
We love you. Yeah. I just had to make sure because they punked me before. But anyways, we'll talk to you. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Love you guys.
Bye.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No, we're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not a chipmunk? Action. No, I'm out of here. Action.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!